Hey everyone, welcome back to Empowered and Out, the podcast where we focus on building careers that actually feel aligned, confident, and sustainable. I'm your host, Jonathan. Most people call me John, aka Coach John, career coach and advocate for showing up fully at work. And this season, healing we're exploring healing and resilience, what it means to recover from trauma, rebuild confidence, protect your mental health. And today's conversation is one I think a lot of people are going to feel deeply because we're getting into the messy middle of identity, ambition, community, and what happens when you're trying to build something meaningful while also navigating the very real challenges of being seen. And this year overall, we're doing things differently. We're elevating, we're expanding, we're prospering together. Through real conversations and coaching centered insights, my goal is to help you reconnect with your confidence, trust yourself more, and start making career choices that support not just your success, but your well being too. So take a breath, settle in, and let's get into today's conversation. So today's guest is someone that we had on last season, and I'm so excited to have him back, Joseph Federico, a seasoned marketing expert with more than 20 years of experience, founder of J. Federico Marketing and Anchors to Dusk Publishing, and a proud advocate for the LGBTQIA plus community. Joseph has built a career that spans from MSNBC to Verizon, and today he brings that same expertise into coaching queer entrepreneurs, supporting small business owners, and creating bold, story-driven work as the author of the Voodoo Juice horror novella series. In today's conversation, as I said, we're going to talk about visibility, authenticity, representation, entrepreneurship, social media, and the real challenges that come with trying to build a life and career without compromising who you are. And honestly, whatever else comes up. Joseph, welcome back to Empowered and Out.
Thank you so much, Coach John. I certainly appreciate it. And the opportunity to come back thinner, better, richer, with more information. And I'm just so excited to be here. So thank you, truly.
You're very welcome. All right. So before we jump in, as I mentioned this right before we started the record, I am doing something different this season. Actually, different this whole year. It's called an energy check-in.
Ooh.
So I'm doing this with all of my guests, and I encourage the audience to do this as well, because I think it's very important, especially with the state of everything going on right now, to check in on our energy, how we're doing. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how is your energy today, and what's contributing to that number?
I would say 8, which is pretty good for a Thursday for me. Usually by Thursdays, I am completely fried, not wanting to do anything. And Fridays, I just kind of balance out and, like pray for the weekend to start. Today's an 8. And contributing to that is a lot of different conversations I've been having from enough people overseas through LinkedIn that are engaging with my content that I've been planting the seeds in for around through different platforms and different conversations. They're finding
Awesome.
they're resonating with the right people or a different audience. And I haven't worked with a lot of people in the UK or in Spain or Brazil or Cuba. And those people are contacting me this morning out of all days on an already packed day, but that excites me and drives me. So that's definitely a contributing factor as to why I'm really excited to just maybe land a few clients or at least help a few lives in that sense. So, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Final
That's
answer.
very cool. And I will admit, I did see your post on LinkedIn talking about that this morning. So I
Yes,
knew that I
I'm on
was
top
like,
of my
hey,
game.
I was like, boom, there. I was like,
Boom,
cool.
there it
Well,
is.
that's
Yeah,
awesome. And the funny thing, I have connected with so many people from like the UK and Europe just in
yeah.
this like podcast alone. And it's been very fun and real because I feel that they're a little bit more on top of things sometimes,
They
especially in
are.
the world of everything going on. And I feel that we tend to be shielded from a lot of stuff that's happening. So it's very
That's all by design
interesting.
too, Jonathan.
Oh, of
That's
course.
all by design. And just this morning, I would have to agree with you, number one, that I think Europeans are a little bit ahead of Americans or a lot. And that's something to be ashamed of. We have to stay informed and, keep up on those things as entrepreneurs, especially as queer men, queer people in our community. But this woman had reached out to me. She had made a comment on one of my posts on a new networking page on LinkedIn, and I had specifically catered to men. So I'm whittling down all my
Hmm.
services, trying to see what's working, what's not working, not to leave women out or the trans community by any means, but just to see what's working content wise.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with testing just because
No,
you got to see what's really going to work. And you know what? I'm
exactly.
doing the same thing.
Yeah,
A lot of coaches I know have been having to do that because things have been really different right now.
really choppy to say the least. To put, that's an understatement. So this woman had reached out to me. This trans person had made a quirky comment on one of my posts that was aimed specifically at gay men with a headshot of me in my pajamas or something, just to try it out. What's going to work? And the post blew up because it's getting the attention, which is by design. And they had said only men and like a smirk emoji or something like that. And I said, no, like if you need assistance, let's have a quick chat. Shoot me a DM. I woke up this morning and this person was literally begging to have a conversation with me because of the trouble that they found in their posting because of their restaurants, what's happening across
Hmm.
the globe politically. And I said, I'm really packed today, but why don't we hop on a quick call? I will certainly try to help you see where the match is and go from there. There's nothing wrong with starting these conversations either, you know? So,
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, I'm glad things
so
are
yeah,
like starting
yeah,
to really kind of get some traction because, like I said, it's been because we're entrepreneurs, we're not, and because we're in an age, okay, the digital age where we can literally reach out. There are no borders. We can
no,
literally reach out to
no,
anyone worldwide. And I've had many consults with potential clients over the years that have not, been nowhere near here. They've been,
mhm,
a lot of them have been over in Europe.
yeah,
And for me, I was like, well, you know what? If they sign on, great. Just means I have to change some things on my schedule to make sure that I'm, up and active, whatever that time might be.
mhm,
Now,
mhm.
obviously, for realistic purposes, they're not going to choose some time that would be, the crack of dawn or
Or
something,
3 in the
even
morning or
wouldn't
anything
matter.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Been there, done that.
boundaries. Yeah, me too.
I did that though for a podcast interview, which was really funny
Okay, well,
of all time.
self self-promotion, so that's fine. Not all the
Yeah,
time,
and
but
honestly, as much as I was worried about it, the second we started recording and when I got done, I was like, "I did that podcast at 3:30 in the morning. Are you kidding me?" And then
good for
but I
you.
wasn't tired, I wasn't exhausted, I was on fire. I was, like, pumped and ready to go
You're,
for
like,
the day
ready
because it was
to
such an awesome conversation.
exactly, to put out that next, social media post or promotion is how I would handle that anyways, like, or not go to bed and just write some ideas down and get a few posts scheduled out, and then go to
Oh,
bed
yeah.
and start again the next
Exactly.
day. Yeah.
All right. So you and I had, well, as I mentioned, you had actually been on the podcast last year, last season, or I guess technically 2 seasons ago when this
Yeah.
is recording now, because each quarter now this year is a season. So I thought
Mhm.
I'm changing it up. I thought I'd do something different this year. Will it stay in place for next year? Not necessarily. We'll see how
Mhm.
things go. Why not? Try something. It can't hurt. If you don't ever try it, you're not going to know what the results are going to be.
Exactly. Like content. Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly. And boy, have I tried different things for content over the
Boy,
years.
oh boy, we have a lot to unpack, my friend.
So you and I talked, we had joked about it earlier that we probably should have recorded our pre-chat because
I
that was an
know.
episode in itself.
It was like an hour of just unpacking live.
And lesson learned, I feel like going forward, I'm going to have to record like all of those just because you never know. It's kind of fun also to
Content. Yeah,
show
clips.
it's clips. It's fun to show what we're chatting about, and it's a little teaser on what's to come.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and
Exactly.
we all know how hooks can be really important, especially in the podcast game.
Mhm.
So, and just in content in general, you have a
Yeah.
hook. I mean, that's golden, especially when it works. All right. Well, we talked about how visibility and authenticity can feel empowering and risky at the same time. How has your relationship with being fully seen evolved over the years?
When I worked in corporate, still toying with the idea of becoming an entrepreneur, people telling me not to become an entrepreneur, trying to hide my creativity, hide my queerness. And a lot of that was self-inflicted. I felt I had to play a certain part or mask in order to get ahead in the corporate world, especially at Verizon or even in, the job I had before that was like a taste of getting into corporate years prior. I wasn't myself. I was playing the game. I was miserable. to be honest. I wasn't authentic. Even when I came home to my apartment or with my partner, I was still holding that mask up
Hmm.
and not living my truth. And it, I think in retrospect, it showed in my content. It showed in who I, wanted to reach out to or what I held back in not responding to people because I was embarrassed essentially of
Hmm.
who I am or of who I was back then. So that certainly shifted and becoming an entrepreneur, trying out different kinds of content, going and joining different groups on LinkedIn has certainly evolved that within the last even, 2 to 3, 4 weeks as well. And my content has shifted in the last month, because of that. So it's really an evolving process and it's empowering, just plain and simple, in my opinion. Yeah.
Well, I will have to say, because we obviously, that's how we connected, was LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I have to say that you do put out very engaging content. Like, it definitely
Thank you.
catches my eye when
Thank
I'm
you so much.
scrolling through. And you're very welcome, because I just am like, wow, like, it makes me kind of want to strive to put even more engaging content, because it's
Mhm.
like, okay, that's clearly getting seen. People are seeing it. Okay. And, like, you have to kind of play the game.
You have
LinkedIn
to
has
play the
definitely
game.
evolved. Oh my goodness, LinkedIn has evolved so much on what to put out there. And then
Yes.
because as you know this, put it out one way on LinkedIn, a different way on Instagram, a different way on possibly Facebook or TikTok. You
Mhm.
have to follow their algorithms, how they want it. And for
Mhm.
some, I'm sure there are many entrepreneurs that are like, well, crap, that's a
Well, there
lot.
are so many entrepreneurs that I've actually had conversations with that didn't equate to becoming a client within the last 2 weeks. So, like a lot of people, to be honest, if we're going to get real for a moment, don't want to put the work in. You have to speak the language of social media, which has changed with even the last like 3 to 6 months
Oh yeah.
because of what's happening politically, because of what's happening within our community. But gay men, especially, I'm calling this out, are getting in their own way, and myself included in the past where they don't want, they're like, another post, another video, another piece of content, evolving the language for different platforms, hashtags versus non hashtags. What performs better on a Facebook group than a LinkedIn group? I'm getting chills. I'm so excited, but I'm nervous for people who
Yeah.
don't give a damn about their own future because I mean, to be honest, they're completely leaving their persona and their money on the table. And they're saying, I'm just going to do one post. I'm going to sell through LinkedIn, for instance. That's not how the digital world works, in my experience.
Nope.
But if you go back, and I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, I put a lot of AI out there to attract the conversations, to attract different kinds of customers. My approach has changed, even as I had said, within the last few weeks, even the last few
Hmm.
days. I'm more to the point. I'm punchier. That's been getting noticed. Thousands of views on these men's queer LinkedIn groups. There's no magic pill or magic post that will do that. It takes gumption and hard work.
It's funny that you say
So,
that, because when I have posted rather blunt and in your face
mhm,
content, that gets the most traction. And it's so funny, because
yeah.
I feel that you're really talking to the person, because all of a sudden they see that and they're like, shit, they're
Are you
talking to
talking to
me.
me? Like
Yeah.
you're
It's like, oh
planting
my gosh, they
in
see
their
my
face.
horrible content. Yeah.
And they're like, exactly. They're like, shit, am I the problem? Am I yeah, well, in short,
Yeah.
yes. But if it's making you think, which is done by design purposely,
Hmm.
then let's have a conversation. Or at least
Yeah.
make you think that you have so much potential. Not you, but you, Gen Pop, in our
Yeah.
community, especially.
And it's
But
funny.
go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Uh, just like one more thing I wanted to unpack, if we have time, is not only creating the content and saying, oh, should I have to do like 4 different kinds of posts, 3 different kinds of videos, so forth and so on across different platforms to translate into those languages for social media purposes. But then you have to follow rules, which, to be
Hmm.
honest, I really don't like. I'm not really a rule follower, which is why I'm an entrepreneur. Let's call it what it is. But on different LinkedIn groups, and I've been getting called out more often because of my authenticity, like, believe it or not. So, yeah. So anyway, that's gonna
Well,
let
and I feel that, well, I can tell you personally, I'm working on some digital courses for
Mhm,
my coaching.
mhm,
And I've been kind of noticing that one of them is not really getting some traction. So I went out there and I kind of searched, well, what's more popular, this
mhm.
one or this one? And what's really getting traction? What are people really worried about right now and really wanting to focus on? Because I have multiple things that but mostly I focus on helping people find their purpose
Right.
or rebuilding their confidence. Well, the funny thing is, I initially thought, oh, purpose is what people want to do because so many people are trying to find jobs or trying to change jobs. They're
Yes.
wanting to do something different. But when it came back down to it, it really starts with that confidence because they have no clue what they're doing.
Yes.
They're not confident in themselves. And so I had to completely shift and go, okay, well, purpose is great, but we're going to start with confidence first because if people
It's
don't have that
lacking in the
confidence,
community.
you're going nowhere. And I have seen through a friend of mine that I work with, who's a fellow coach, she has found with clients that I actually have been brought in to help her with. Initially, it was trying to help them with their finding their purpose because these are like early career people or
Right,
early
right.
career professionals or those coming right out of college. And
Well, that's hard. Yeah.
it's rough. It's hard. But biggest thing that really it kept circling back to was their confidence.
Yeah.
They knew what they wanted to do, but then one of the biggest challenges that they keep coming across, which isn't a challenge, it frustrates me
Mhm.
because I'm like, why are you doing this? Because they want to apply for a job. They see the 5 required skills that you should have or whatever you should have in this job. They're
Mhm.
qualified for 4 out of the 5, but they're not going to apply for it because they don't have all 5.
I
What?
have news for them, like, most of those qualifications are a bunch of bull, and I learned
Exactly.
that by working in corporate, they don't actually matter, so
Oh,
just a little
totally.
word of advice for those graduating this year and going into the field because it's a bunch of
Well, and then on top of that, especially because this person was an engineer and they thought they needed to have more projects under the belt or all this more
Mm.
experience. I'm like, that's what you get when you get into the working world. That's
Yes,
what you get.
you build your
You
resume, you build your footprint, you build
Yes.
your life,
Like
and I
I
have news
you and
for
I
you.
are not you and I are not where we are today just on a whim. We did a lot of work to get to this point.
20 years of experience of getting to where at least I
Exactly.
speak for myself, and I'm still not perfect. I have to learn
Oh,
every single day, and as I'm sure you do as well, how to
oh my
pivot,
gosh, yes.
how to do your
Yeah.
research before getting on a call with a potential client that's taking their time, but also expecting to draw boundaries in return, being respected
Mhm.
from your own time, with your own time, your expertise. The 20 years experience is why I charge what I charge. And I should be charging a lot
Yeah.
more. Let's call it what it is, But also
Yeah.
that's again an entirely different conversation. But
Yes,
the
it
whole
is.
confidence thing is interesting because I had a gentleman, I'm not gonna say who reached out to me because of a post, a bold post on LinkedIn, who then texted me because I said, "I literally can't handle this right now. I'm traveling, shoot me a text." And he did. We're having a conversation, and I called him out. I said, "You're not ready to do social media, and here's why." And I wrote this whole diatribe back to me, which I did that on purpose to extract different emotions, to get more out of him, to have him understand why he needs to jump. And he was a career jumper. He was going from corporate with
Mhm.
a family, queer man with children, to starting an entirely different new career. And it fell flat. The conversation completely stopped. I think once I started calling him out in a coaching sense, not to be rude or
Yeah.
mean or a bully, but to try to extract what I needed from him to get to the next step. And he was lacking confidence. He was afraid of going from corporate to starting his own life. He was afraid of becoming a failure, and really didn't want to get on camera or even know where to start. So that I've been finding is I'm calling it an epidemic within the queer community. A lot of my consults have been in a similar, vein as well. So yeah.
It's funny that you say that because was so me. I didn't want to be on camera. I didn't want to I knew that I having that entrepreneurial spirit, that drive is in my
Mhm.
blood. My dad had his own business. My
Same here.
grandfather had his own business. So I was seeing it. Now the funny thing is on the flip side, my mom and my sister are like going, "Oh no, that's not my thing. I would rather
Yeah.
be like," but they are encouraging me and they're like, "Go for it. Do it."
Right.
Obviously we know people who are successful, so feel free. It's a lot of hard work, but keep
Oh boy, is
going,
it
keep
hard
doing
work.
it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and so it's yeah, so many people are afraid to
It's
take
the
that first
confidence.
step.
No.
It's 100% the confidence. And you have to, you kind of have to, you have to get out of your head, as we know. You have to get out of it, because it's like your mind is what's telling you you can't do it.
This is what wanders
Or,
and you stop yourself.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, they've always said, like, we're our worst enemy. Like, we're the biggest judge.
Well, 100%,
Ourselves are the
even
biggest
more
judge if we
so
can do anything. Yeah.
for the gay community, queer men that I've been, again, this is such an important conversation. The last 2 weeks, these gentlemen just don't want to jump. They're standing in their own way. I'm not going to change, as in them. I
Mhm.
don't want to do this. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. I don't know what to talk about. So I'm going to stay stuck and prohibit myself from exploring these options and not proceeding with my life.
I mean,
That's it. It's sad. It's sad.
it's sad, but it's kind of eye-opening to sit there and think for a second, okay, even not just queer men or anybody in the queer community, just overall in general, we wouldn't have a lot of things that we're doing at this even platform that we're recording on if someone didn't decide, hey, let's do this. Let's
Hmm.
go and make this change. Let's try to do this. Hey, we can have a conversation. Like, let's record, be able to have a conversation with someone. In our case, halfway across the country, but like I have said, I've had conversations with people halfway across the world.
Me too.
And
With clients as
because
well.
of everything moving forward, if people hadn't taken the steps previous to us, we wouldn't be where we are now. With that, LGBTQ plus representation has definitely changed over time,
Hmm.
but also how parts of the community still feel divided. Oh my
Hmm.
goodness.
Hmm.
What have you noticed about that evolution?
My honest opinion, I think we'll always be divided within the queer community, the LGBTQIA plus, and then some,
Hmm.
because most of us are just out for ourselves. And I'm still seeing that divide, not only because I'm, not that I'm butthurt by any means, but by being called out on certain content, being prohibited, being restricted with other platforms. Yeah, it's not going to change until we all change, and a majority of us are not willing to change, if that makes sense.
It does. And it's kind of sad. I think that
That's the god awful truth, Yeah.
it's sad, and it's a little frustrating to just see how, and honestly, because of that divide and because of the that divisiveness within our community
Hmm.
is why, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, I doubt I am, but is why we have 10,000 flags representing all the different people in the community. Because the rainbow flag was created in general by
Yes.
Gilbert Baker to represent every single person in the community, no matter who they are. And I know this because I studied him, I met him, and I've read up on him.
Hmm.
We don't need, technically, if we were a true community, we
Hmm.
wouldn't need the lesbian flag, the bi flag, the trans flag, the bear flag. Like, we wouldn't need all these different flags,
And I
because
support all of that
again,
100%,
the rainbow one supports 100% of all of it.
Mhm.
And one of these days, I'm sure, I hope, to get, more conversations going on that, because it's like, why do we feel we have to have this? Like, even the inclusive, like, flag now,
Yes.
I'm just like,
But think about how
but the
important that
rainbow
flag
flag means
is.
that same thing.
It's a powerful representation of the gay and queer community that it literally has been politicized. Not the
Uh-huh.
other flags. Now, again, an entirely different conversation talking about politically why our trans brothers and sisters are being attacked, but
Oh
that's
yeah.
because of politics. Again, whole different
Right.
conversation. But think about how powerful the gay flag is. Crosswalks being removed across, the entire country, being paved over, people finding different ways of sharing them on billboards and within marketing and advertising and bringing community back together. Think about that for a moment. But then go take a broader look at the community, as you had said, is transactional. We talked about this last time, I think, even on our last
Mhm.
podcast. And I'm
Yeah.
more than happy to call that shit out more often than not. Why we're so
Yeah.
divisive, as a community, why things are so transactional, but everyone's out for themselves.
Yeah.
That's not community by any means. So,
No. I mean, and I think a lot of it, the thing that's interesting, and I've had the amazing opportunity and fortunate opportunity, 100% fortunate, like,
mhm,
and grateful that I've had people from different generations now on my podcast. coming on to having conversations.
Mhm.
I have had different generations, but different parts of the community. I've had multiple people who are part of the trans community. I'm excited to have more people. I have some more people coming on soon. I feel that you get a different perspective, how the community is when you
Mhm.
talk to people in the different generations. I have a different viewpoint of how I would say perceive the community as a Gen Xer. And I know that you have probably a different perception of it. Just it's
Mhm.
also number one, how we were brought into it, number
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
but also how people treated us, how we saw things for the first time. Like
Mhm.
I still can remember my very first Pride. And I can remember
Me too.
how welcoming and how fun it was.
Mhm.
Not that and obviously, as we know, Pride itself is a protest. That's really what it was designed, that's
Mhm.
what it was created about.
Yeah.
But so it's great that people want to have all these whatever concerts, drag queens, whoever performing to whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, you need to make sure that everyone in the community is being represented. Excuse me. And I think that I don't see the representation, full
No.
representation in Pride. And that's a big slam on probably every city who does Pride events in this entire country,
Mhm.
especially.
Mhm.
I don't know about around the world because I've never, obviously attended one, but I know that I've seen a lot of one sided ways things are presented or who we
Right.
have for performers or whatever. And I don't think it's what makes it hard then is if you have someone is a hetero straight male or female that might see something Pride related and they're like, well, why is that just showing this or why is that showing that? That's not, let's say, just for instance, and I know this isn't totally true, but let's say they don't show any representation on someone who is trans, and I know that's not true. There's definitely representation. I definitely see that. But and then you have and they have but then they have a trans child.
Mhm.
Well, why are they're gonna then question the community? Well, why aren't you, embracing this part of the community? I think a lot of it, especially in the trans community, and especially from someone even in my generation, probably especially and older, it's not that we don't get the trans community. We just haven't been educated enough. I feel that millennials, Gen Alpha, Gen Z, or Gen Z are a little bit more educated because they're really in the thick of it more.
Sure. Sure.
And I feel that, I mean, I've said this a few times in interviews and just in general conversations with people outside of this. I didn't really meet my first person who identified as trans until I moved to Colorado. And that
Mhm.
was 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And it's like, wait, you can't, I would 100% guarantee there are trans people and people who represent as trans in Kansas City, where I grew
Right.
up. I just wasn't around it. Now, obviously, as we know, if you're in certain communities, you may not, different groups and social circles, you may not have anyone that's ever around you.
Sure.
And I mean, which is good and what's bad. I feel that that's the fault of probably every LGBT center in every single city is like, you need to make sure you reach out to the community, make sure that people are seen, especially right now with the whole political climate on
Mhm.
how much everyone in the trans community is getting attacked. And because it's like of all the people in all of our community, they're the smallest. Yes, they're the most different and unique, and they could have a community. They're like a little bubble within already the whole overall LGBTQI community
Right.
because there's so much uniqueness in every single person. But take a step back to that and a broader picture of that, wasn't that how we all were created in general, is to be unique and different? We're not all robots. We're not AI.
We shouldn't be robots, and we're not AI, we're human.
Exactly.
The representation matters. But the onus is on us to educate ourselves on the trans community. These centers have to go to the trans community members and ask how they want to be represented in order to educate the larger community and the world, right? And
Hmm.
especially in marketing and advertising, there's a fear there, fear of the unknown. They'd rather avoid it, not only for gay men in the queer community, but the trans community. There's fear, and they think that there will be loss of dollars financially if they represent these communities. So there, lies an even bigger disconnect. Bringing it back to marketing and advertising, there's no representation
Yeah.
of gay men. You think that they're going to represent the trans community? Hell no, and that's the saddest part of it all,
True.
in my opinion. So, you know,
Yeah,
terrible.
it's all right. Well, I'm going to go a little bit more into that because you
Yeah,
you touched on it and you said this is kind of where your focus has kind of been going towards
yeah.
gay men. And we talked about how gay men seem to quietly give up on their dreams, careers, goals.
Oh,
And
100%, 100%.
and we talked about a little bit, but why I mean about really the lack of confidence.
Mhm.
But do you think it's fear, shame, burnout, survival, or something deeper? Or it could be all of the above,
I
really.
would say D, all the above, but, C, something deeper that is innately buried within our being that we were taught that we shouldn't be seen. I think, at least in my opinion and my
Mhm.
experience in dealing with all the trauma, and then how do I handle that with therapy and evolving to become a life, so there's an evolution there, right? And I feel very strongly about if you have a problem, hit it head on, evolve and better your life, however, wherever that may come from. We're taught in our current society to hide, to be ashamed of who we are, to not ask questions, not become ourselves, and just work for the man every step of the way, no matter what. There's a lot of loss there, right?
Yeah.
And for us to attempt to push through that, work through that, evolve from that, we hit a wall. At least I hit a wall after all of that
Mhm.
programming, right? In the 80s and
Yeah.
90s, early 2000s. And you hit a wall and you say, Jesus, what do I want to do with my life? Am I wasting my life? For me, I felt that I was. You're coming out of corporate. I was scared shitless. I said, man, I finally had the balls to, do I want to become an entrepreneur? Is the corporate route for me? But I'm masking. I'm working so much. People are putting their name on my projects. Like, what the hell's going on? Being taken advantage of. So, short answer, it is something much, much deeper. And I don't think the queer community, gay men especially, have figured out why. And we need to be talking more about that, having larger conversations in that sense to push forward. And as I had said, goddamn evolve, because we're stuck. Most of us are stuck. Most of these
Yeah.
conversations I've been having are with people that are like, you're pushing me to my limit. I'm going to ghost and I'm not even going to thrive. I refuse to
Yeah.
evolve. That's
What do
terrible.
you wish No, it is terrible, and it's sad and it's frustrating because I feel
Of course
that
it's frustrating,
when you
especially for coaches like
have
us. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I feel that I mean, someone obviously growing up the way we did, the masking, the be quiet, be don't act gay
Hmm.
around this person. Don't do this. I mean, we got here's the sad thing is we didn't get it just in work. We got it at home. We were like, "Oh yeah, you can't act like that. You have
Oh,
to be
100% at
more
home.
masculine. You can't be you can't be feminine. You can't show this, you can't do this." And
No,
it's so it's sad because when people get to be their own and be their own protect like the best of themselves, being that true authentic self, then we don't I feel that at times, and now obviously being authentic invisible is huge. It also can though sometimes create burnout though because
because we
they're
overproduce, we overwork, we want to be
yes,
successful to ourselves. And that's just as toxic as being in a toxic relationship, with work,
yeah,
in a relationship, in a friendship, in a corporate environment is just as toxic, turning it back on ourselves and saying, I'm going to be the best. And we should strive to be better. We'll never be the
yeah,
best. We should never be the best. Otherwise, we won't learn and grow and evolve. Right.
exactly.
But that's just as toxic, just as toxic.
Yeah. What do you wish, though, more gay men understood about their potential?
That they do have a unique voice. They are part of the rainbow. That, as kitschy as that may sound, I firmly believe in that statement.
Yeah.
That they just had the gumption and had the confidence, going back to lack of confidence, the confidence to see their own potential and put the unique perspective onto anything that they put their mind to. Marketing, coaching, starting a gym, becoming a musician, whatever that may be. The world's waiting for you because everything is crumbling right now. All the
Yeah.
old ways of doing
Mhm.
things are going away. We need new voices.
Yes, we do. Well, excuse me. And I've also noticed that, especially with these younger generations, especially Gen Z hitting the workplace
Mhm.
and being strong, these companies are going to have to change. They work differently. They work differently than you and I work when we were
Mhm.
in corporate.
I know.
Like they don't work the same.
No, they
And
don't.
I will admit, I'm happy that they don't work the way that we did, because was it right? No, probably not.
No, my God, that was just as toxic working in
Yes.
corporate back, 10 years ago.
But I think they also need to be reeled in a little bit and say, okay, this is, at the end of the day, you are in a working environment. I had a great
Sure.
conversation with someone who's a neuroscientist. And he said, at the end of the day, though, you got hired to do a job because of your skills and your
Mhm.
expertise. You didn't get hired, because we can't do that right now, because of who you might be in a DEI type of sense, as we
Right,
know that, because that's been
right.
shot down. Back in the just a year or two ago, or a couple of years ago, that was, unfortunately, that could be the case, that you were
Sure.
hired because of who you were. I
Mhm.
think that everyone should be able to be whoever they want to be and represent themselves at work. I still don't get why there's such a pushback on it. I really just don't. Because at the end of the day, if they're doing the job, they're getting the job done. Why does it matter? Why does it matter if I wear bright pink hair, or have bright pink hair and earrings and a nose ring or whatever? Why does that matter if I'm getting my job done?
Because we've been conditioned to turn
Yes,
against each
exactly.
other. That's why. That's the short answer. Yeah,
Well, and I think, like I said, I think those things are going to have to change, like, pretty quickly, because
they absolutely have to change.
especially, well, sorry, boomers, once y'all get out of the work environment, I think things might be a little bit better.
Bye-bye. Yeah,
Maybe,
yeah.
because unfortunately, I love my generation, but we just don't give a shit. Just, we don't pull us into the mix, because
No.
that's a bad thing. I love, 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 love on TikTok when they said, "Don't poke the bear. Don't poke the Gen
Oh,
Xer. Don't,
no, no,
just leave
no.
them alone."
Please don't,
And
because
we've
we
been through
will
enough shit. We just, in general, when you look
and
at what
over
we've
and
been
over
through,
and over again.
and I mean, the AIDS epidemic, the Challenger explosion, we saw that as children. We saw the Berlin Wall come down. We've seen, like, there's so many things that we have seen, and the Twin Towers come down. Like, we've seen so
How
many
many
things
epidemics,
happen.
a pandemic, how many
I
market
mean,
crashes, it's like enough is enough.
like, the sad thing is COVID, we were like, yeah, hold our beer. We've been through this type of thing
It's
before. We're like,
fine.
we're
Wear a
good.
mask, get your shots, you're good.
So I
You're
mean,
good. Yeah.
so yeah, don't ask us, but I feel it's going to
Don't
have to
ask
be
us. Oh,
others
well,
that
the
are going to
show
have
this
to.
was "Don't Ask Us" or "Don't Ask Me."
Yeah,
Stop it.
yeah.
Enough is enough. Yeah.
All right, we've been talking about this a little bit. The challenge of building trust in
Yeah.
coaching and
Yeah.
consulting, especially when people are interested but they don't follow through.
Mhm.
What do you think is really going on there? Well, you mentioned this a little bit. I think when we call people out, they get a little offended, even
Mhm.
though they know it's true
Mhm.
and they know they probably really should be doing this.
It
Like,
means it's working.
it's exactly.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, 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 no. So is the question like, why do people
What do you think
not go forward? Yeah.
they really aren't going forward?
It's fear-based. It's fear-based, but also I've been noticing, and I'm calling out coupled men, and this is gonna sound however it's gonna sound. A lot of men I've been talking to that were almost at the signing stage of the contract, you put a dollar sign in front of them, and they go, "I have to ask my husband." It's codependency, which I also think is very toxic because I have a very different relationship with my husband, my partner.
Yeah.
We're two different entities living a life together, right? For each other, but for ourselves.
Yeah.
The comment I get a lot of is either fear-based and uh, "It's not my time. I'm not ready to do this." They go back into hiding, number 1, or number 2, "I have to ask my husband for the finances. So do with that as you may."
Well, what makes someone finally say yes, though, to the support, do you
Building
think?
that trust, and it doesn't just it takes more than an initial 20, 30-minute free consultation.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the first step.
excuse me, like, you and I both know, like, the biggest thing that we have to do is the whole know, like, and trust. We have to put things out there, and in a 20, 30-minute conversation, it's really hard. Like, it's
It's not
hard
gonna
to
do
create
it.
that.
It's not gonna
No.
do it. Even if a
In
person
some
says it.
ways, I feel that in some ways, especially because you and I, we do post in similar groups on
Yes,
LinkedIn and just in general. And I
that's
feel
how we met.
that,
Yeah,
exactly, but I feel that that's where we get a little bit of that know, like, and trust of each other. And I
yeah,
feel that sometimes that also helps us. That's also part of the reason why someone might jump on board and say, okay, I saw this. You've been posting a lot about this. That's really clicking. Okay, what
Mhm,
can you tell me more? And then,
mhm.
of course, we hit that wall. Well, I got to ask my husband.
It's a
But
wall, and I'm not against gay marriage or, like, partnerships or love
yeah,
by any means. I've been in a 20-year relationship, but you hit the goddamn wall and you're like, my eyes start crossing and fumes come out of my ears. I'm like, what? I was going to say, even if, so a person that did not sign on, that did wind up hitting a wall with me, leading to, I have to ask my husband, wanted to sign on with me immediately after the free, like 30-minute consultation. And I had stopped this person. I said, I have room for you. I can't wait to evolve your brand, to bring you out of the dark ages of social media, to help you grow and sell your books or sell your products or sell whatever. And this person had said to me at the end of the conversation, well, I'm sold. Where do I sign? And that threw me off because I've never really had that. Very rarely,
yeah,
right? On rare occasion. But I said, I'm going to give you at least a day to like review my offerings and the number I had given you. Let's loop back tomorrow or the end of the week. Just give it a few more days. Was that
hmm.
right? I don't know. Was it wrong? I don't know. But I
Did they
wanted to do
sign?
the right thing. They wound up not signing for and then ghosting an entire week after, claiming they had to ask their husband, eventually turning into a no. That was then fear based, going back into the proverbial dark ages of social media and or closet, in my opinion, and not wanting to take the next step in bettering themselves.
Yeah, it's the
It's
one thing
hard.
I learned, and I'm sure you know this as well, and it can be hard because I still remember my first I remember still remember the first person that signed as a
Yeah,
client,
yeah.
and I was like, because they said yes, I sent them the documents to, electronically, all that stuff,
Mhm,
and then it was like silent for a few days,
mhm.
and I was like, shit, did they ghost me? Is this real?
Yes.
Now, luckily, they did sign. It was just a delay, and then
Mhm.
because then all of a sudden I saw the money go into, I got the money through Stripe,
Then it
who I
made
use. I saw,
sense. You were
and
protected.
then the documents came and everything, and I was like, going, whew. I was like,
By
don't
relief,
do
I have a
that.
paycheck.
Like,
You're good. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, you're gonna give me a little mini heart attack. I was like, don't do that.
It's true.
But I
Never tell
have
them.
learned that, and you probably know this, you probably would agree with this. The one thing I have learned that if they don't sign right then and there, if like what you did, which I've learned to not do, is don't give them that time, because if they don't sign right then and there, you've lost them.
Yeah.
It's that,
Yeah.
and it's hard, especially if it comes down to something financial, because, and it's why I didn't do this when I first started it, even in my coaching, but now I have payment plans and I have things where you don't have to do a
Oh,
full
I've
out
evolved
pay.
all that too,
And
100%. You have
because
to.
if I hadn't, I was never going to get a client,
Yes.
because there are people that don't have, just put it out there, two, three, $5,000 to go, boom,
Mhm.
whatever, they
Mhm.
don't have that money to, but they might have $1,000 to put down as a down payment, and then go
Payment
in,
plan.
and then we can work out the payment plans and whatever. And
Right.
I did learn, though, there was a certain number. It's something psychologically that if they don't put down more, if they don't put down at least $1,000 on a down payment, they're not going to move forward with you.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I thought it's very interesting. There's a whole psychological thing about even the price of your package, like your
Mhm.
plan, like whatever you offer.
It's
I
it's
learned this
literally a
in an
numbers game. Yeah.
Yeah, I learned this, and actually, it was actually in an AI training thing that I was doing. But he's a very successful entrepreneur, and he said, "Yeah, this is a number. If you're looking at, instead of 500, like just say throwing out there $500, you say 497. For some odd reason, when you go right up to that 500,
Mhm.
that turns people off." And I was like, oh, "That's kind of
Interesting.
fascinating." I was
Yeah.
like, "Huh, all right." Well, so how do you think, like, coaches, consultants, I couldn't say consultants, I don't know why. How do you think how do you think they can better meet people where they are without watering down the value of what they do?
I've never been asked that before. That's a great question. I would say being your most authentic self, taking your years of experience, whittling that down to 3 bullet points or less on why you're the number one person to go to, and following through on that and having that become your brand, that become your persona, that become your outreach, your email lists, your SMS outreach. Live, eat, and breathe those 3 bullet points of your past experience, period.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. You and I have kind of slightly touched on this, but you definitely would know this. Social media has changed so much. I mean, let's
Yes.
be real, especially, well, even more so within the last couple of years, but even with the last 4 to 6 months, it's crazy to see all these changes, but especially for queer professionals and business owners. What's your honest take on how platforms like LinkedIn, Instagram, X are shaping connection and visibility right now?
I would say I'm gonna flip it a little bit, just how I understand and how I would like to answer, if that's okay.
Of course.
The leader in that is still Instagram because that's a video-based platform and there's less selling. It's more authentic, in my opinion, than even LinkedIn. LinkedIn has become more of a Facebook, and
Yes, it
Twitter
has.
X is completely dead because it's all politicized and right-wing like crazy town. Well, except in the sense of adult performers and actors, it's actually quite good for the other part of the community making content, which I
Yeah.
completely support. Right?
Yeah.
So I have to go back. Short answer is authenticity, but don't share your life story on a more professional platform
Yeah.
because people are gonna, that's called like the ick. That's called like,
Hmm.
stop doing that. I don't want to see your kids on LinkedIn. I don't want to see what you had for breakfast on LinkedIn. Connect with me as a professional or share as the coaches or the queer, creatives or entrepreneurs and business owners. Share your wins, share your woes, share your authentic self, but mask up to the point that you have to be professional and carry that over in a different instance to a platform like Instagram where you
Hmm.
can show more behind the scenes, but educate a little bit smarter on a platform such as Instagram, if that makes sense.
Oh, it 100% does. Like and you actually, I mean, for me, yes, LinkedIn has become a little bit too much like Facebook.
Hmm.
There's a lot of times, especially, I would say last year, a little bit, I saw a little bit more. I haven't seen it too much. I'm not saying that it's not still there. I'm sure it is, but I saw people throwing so much out personally on
Hmm.
LinkedIn. I'm like, first off, my thing, I took a step back. Why are you even putting this out here on social media? It's like, why are you even doing this? Why are you having
Hmm.
these conversations? Why are you not talking with your friends, your family, because some of
Right.
these people were like, oh, I've lost my job. I need help here. And they're putting like GoFundMe information stuff. I'm like, when this is a business, this is a
Yes.
professional network. This
Yes.
is
I
a
agree.
professional networking like network to reach out to people to connect with finding a job or connect with getting a guest on a podcast
Sure.
or
How
whatever it
about
might
that?
be.
Living proof.
And
Yeah.
it's just, you're right. Like go and feel and create story after story after story, whatever you want to do on Instagram or, but LinkedIn, you really need to present yourself in the right way. And it's especially for those who are looking, and I learned this kind of, again, it's a learning process. As entrepreneurs, we're always learning and
Hmm.
things are changing. You can do whatever you want. Like you need to make yourself that professional. But if you want to show a little bit more of the fun, the behind the scenes, the craziness of how what you do in your work, or maybe a little bit more details on you and your partner, whatever, that's why you have an Instagram. That's why you put
Yes.
that stuff out there. But on
Yes.
LinkedIn, it's about, okay, for me, I'm a coach, I'm a podcaster. Yes, I'm a creative because I'm creating all this content, but
Right.
on the other day, I either want to work with you or connect with you in a way that's going to help us collaborate in the right way
Right.
and not be, I don't know, worrisome to try to connect with someone that so pushing so hard on personal issues they might have.
Right.
Like I saw, I've had some previous conversations I had with even potential clients, and I was like, you need to kill your social media, what you're doing on LinkedIn. You're
You
not going to
need to
ever get
just
a
pull it
job.
back, fly under the radar, be professional, highlight what you've done up to that point, your education, your work experience, how you can solve for X people's problems, right?
Mm,
But on the flip side, I want to add this too, Coach John, is I want people to do their research when reaching out to people like us.
100%. Yeah.
But the onus is also then in return on the flip side on us to clearly explain what we do so the guesswork is taken out of that initial outreach so we can start off on the right foot in the initial conversation of having that free consultation.
Oh, yeah. Every single person that I've ever met,
Very
be it through
difficult.
coaching or through even bringing on to my podcast right away, especially because obviously I probably met them through LinkedIn,
Yeah.
connected. I
Yeah.
go to their profile right away. See, even when I've had, when I first started, when you even jumped, when we connected and when I did my very first season,
Yeah.
there were a lot of people that said, "Oh, I want to be on. I want to be on. I want to be on." And I'm like, and then I would go to their profile and look, and I'm like, oh, "You're not really what I want to share."
Crickets. Yeah.
It's like,
They're
and
not crystal clear on
then
who they are, right? Or
exactly,
exactly what they provide, their experience. Again, but the onus is also on us as the creatives, the entrepreneurs, the professionals, like, on a platform such as LinkedIn. Be crystal goddamn clear on what you do, who you help, and what your past is.
yeah.
Solve for X, solve for that problem, and you'll build a wider, stronger community in that sense on the platform like LinkedIn than any other platform out there today.
And just a little coaching insight for me, and like for those out there, you got to show your value. Why is someone going to
Yes.
choose you for their
Mhm.
company? Because yes, XYZ company, guess what? They do have people going through, and they see if if you're an expert, or you studied, I don't know, sales and marketing, or you did something in college, or you whatever,
Yeah.
they are going to search for you. And if you don't show why you should be in that working environment to begin with, next, they go to the next. You have to show your value. You have to showing, like you said, if you're showing personal, hanging out with your partner, I mean, and I've seen this, and and I probably have seen it in one of the network, in the one of the groups where people
I'm
show, oh, I'm with
I
my
know exactly what
partner
you're
and I've
talking
been with
about. Yeah.
them, and I've been, oh, when we just celebrated, we just got married, or we did this. Great. Here's the deal. That didn't mean jack shit to
No.
someone who is
Yeah.
looking to possibly hire you as a job. They don't care. They don't care. It shouldn't, number one, it shouldn't even come up in a conversation, even for an interview for a job. But you got to keep that out of this. It's not, it
No.
is a
Oh
professional
god.
networking group.
Those
And that's the whole
introductory
platform.
posts, that are like, "I just got married." Hey, Mazel tov. I don't care.
Yes, exactly.
Are you a coach?
Congratulations.
I have to
But
then do the digging exactly. "Hey, congrats. Who are you?" There's a headshot. There's no it's all fluff. Like, who are you? How am I gonna reach out? Why do I wanna spend my time reaching out to you that will not waste my time? Stop
so,
sharing the
yeah.
personal stuff, period.
So my next question, we pretty much answered it, and that which
Yeah.
was, has LinkedIn lost some of its original purpose? And 100% yes.
I mean, but my biggest gripe, to be honest, not even LinkedIn, that's going to shit, but I think there's kind of like a renaissance right now of LinkedIn in having these conversations and these groups, which,
Yeah.
yeah, like it is what it is. Better than nothing. At least there's a platform. My biggest gripe is losing Twitter. I'm dead naming it because it's dead, sealed, gone,
Yeah.
buried, expiring. That was a great platform to connect
Oh,
on
yeah.
years ago. Bring in business, get clients, speak to people around the world, have Twitter chats, share articles and news, and be informed. That was one of the best platforms, even better than LinkedIn. And LinkedIn was pretty new at the time when Twitter was at its height. So that's one of my absolute biggest gripes is I was holding on to Twitter until like the very end. I was like, oh, this is really bad. So yeah,
And unfortunately, you're right that, yeah, for those in our community who are doing like adult type content, yeah, they're thriving. Good luck.
God
Have
bless.
fun.
Yeah.
Congratulations. But that's, yeah, that's really
That's all
all
it's
it
really good
is.
for, that and Blue Sky
Yeah.
for that end of the community, and I fully support that 100%. Uh,
Yeah.
but don't go sharing that on your LinkedIn either.
Oh,
No. You will get banned within a matter of seconds, my friend.
oh my
Oh
gosh.
boy.
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
I have also noticed in one of the network groups that we're in that when you are posting consistent, engaging content, I know one of them you had to get approval before it also get posted.
Yes.
And I know
Yes.
that I'm getting a lot faster. It's almost automatic approval now, just because they know that I'm not putting crap out there.
You're not putting crap. No.
I'm putting things out there, and I will admit, I actually want to get that person who's kind of running that group. I want to get them on here. I want to actually have a conversation with them
I know
because
exactly who you're talking about too. I
I
had
know
a
you.
chat with them this
I'm sure
week.
you do. Yeah. But I mean, in a
No.
good way, because I
Yeah.
think it's awesome for what they're doing, and I think I think that group is.
Well, you're offering a platform for the community to speak their mind.
I mean,
That's what we need more of.
I wouldn't be where I am just in the podcast end of my business
No.
without that group.
Right.
100%.
Right.
I know this for a fact.
It's true.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's even more reason why I want that to bring that person on. Just because first I'll just say thank you for creating such an awesome,
Space. Yeah.
platform and space that people can go onto. Anyway, so let's reel this back in a little bit. So going back on to, we talked about Instagram. Why do you think Instagram feels more natural for coaching and relationship building? We obviously know LinkedIn can't be really,
No.
but why do you think Instagram feels more natural?
There's more freedom to unmask on Instagram. People are more forgiving on Instagram. Yeah, it's that simple.
I'd agree on that. All right. This is something that obviously you and I both use. You do use it a little bit more than I do because I don't have that fear because I'm all about change and
Yeah.
everything. But how do you see things like technology and AI impacting queer professionals and creatives right now?
From a person that uses it more often than not, attempting to utilize it for the right reasons, a lot of us in the queer community are using it for the wrong reasons, and
Hmm.
they're relying too heavily on it. And it is muddying up the digital landscape. And a lot more people, in my opinion, are losing trust in those people that are using it as a crutch because they're not counteracting their AI or use in technology with the real stuff. They're not getting on camera. It's only the carousels. It's only the AI. There are no long form articles, no podcasts, guest spots. They've completely stripped themselves of their humanity and they're relying too heavily on technology to get the work done for them. AI and tech, embrace it a million trillion percent.
Use it as a tool, though. Don't use it as your whole
Don't,
thing.
thank you. Don't utilize it for me, it saves me time.
Oh my
I don't have
gosh,
to go
yes.
into Canva and spend 30 minutes or 20 minutes or even 10 minutes on an image where I can put the prompt in properly, utilize that as a stepping
Yeah,
stone to create the copy for said post, pop it up. And the most time that I spend is sharing it on the platforms manually. I don't have a scheduler anymore because even those have gotten too expensive for somebody like
yeah.
me. So when you post natively, you actually get more attention as well on your post, on your content, on the platforms. Like y'all are using it as a crutch and most of it
Hmm.
looks like crap. I got to be honest.
Yeah,
It's that yellow filter. You think you can create like your God, create whatever you want, and you can, but it's a crayon in your crayon box. You know what I mean? It's not
yeah.
whole the whole toolbox or the whole crayon box. So yeah,
Well, and I will admit, the imagery has still kind of, I wouldn't say freaked me out. It has still made me pause a little bit. Now, in a lot of ways, I'm a coach and I'm a podcaster. I don't really have to do like you, based on what you actually do and what you do as a business and how you help people, your creation of the content and the AI images makes sense.
sure,
It doesn't really make sense for me as a coach to do
sure.
something like that because it just doesn't fit for
That
what I'm
makes
doing.
sense. Absolutely 100%. If I want to get on the latest trend with scream or horror or even the gay lesbian review or whatever that means, or even, I mean, I'm a big old nerd too at the end of the day. So I love my horror and I love my Mortal Kombat, right? And if I'm going to hop on a trend or hopefully start a trend, I'm going to put myself in those positions
Yeah.
either through AI or a picture of myself or blending of the two and using technology to allow it to assist me in getting the point across to stop the scroll, then I'm going to continue to do that. But I'm not going to post 40 images a day that are strictly AI. If something comes up,
Yeah.
I'm going to call it out. I'm going to probably get on camera and discuss it, which have blown up the past couple of days because I've been changing my strategy. I've been utilizing different forms of technology and on different platforms, starting conversations that other gay men want to talk about, or at least they're interested in. So there's a method behind blending humanity with technology. You absolutely have to be doing that going forward. Otherwise, you're at a complete loss, or you will be in the near future. Yeah,
You literally just answered the question I was going to ask you
that's how good I am. See you later.
because I was going to ask, like, how do people stay human and authentic while also adapting to all of this change?
They're
We kind of
afraid.
touched on it.
They're
Well,
afraid
yeah,
of
they're afraid.
themselves because they don't want to. Back to the beginning of this conversation, they don't want to get on camera. They
Yeah.
want to hide behind a screen. Social media has made it so simple to hermit yourself up and speak your mind or not behind a screen, a computer screen, or a platform.
Yeah.
I'm going to let LinkedIn sell my products for me. Are you insane? No, no, absolutely
Yeah.
not. But then those people become too reliant on AI, on technology, on the platforms, and say, that's enough for me. And again, the humanity is just gone.
Well, and honestly, if I'm wanting someone to hire me as a coach, I want to see them see the true human me. Like that's a real I'm
Yes,
for me, it like I just said, it doesn't make sense for me to do an AI created image. I need to have probably now. I'm not saying that I can't do that, but I'm just saying that for me to have a video clip or something to show why you should want to hire me and bring me on board
you
instead,
can
to help
totally,
you
yes, you can totally
is
create,
a way
yeah,
better way to do it than I mean, don't get me wrong. I use AI to help create content, but then I tweak it. And I said, okay, well, that's great, but I need to now make this sound a little bit better.
it doesn't
And I've
sound like
even
you, it's
had,
not your brand, it's not your persona, it's not
yeah,
human,
exactly. It
but
will
if
never be
you
human.
no,
It will
never,
never
ever,
be human,
ever, even
ever.
when you train the hell out of your AI, it's still gonna come up a little wonky sometimes, no matter
Yeah.
how much data you put into, your inputs or, your backlog. But
I
somebody
mean,
like
I
you,
even had,
yeah,
for me, like I was telling you earlier, like this confidence digital course that I'm building,
yeah,
I said, okay, review this. Is this going to sell? And they said, actually, you need to tweak this and tweak this and tweak this and change these wordings. And that's what's going to help you get this to sell.
right.
Not how it is right now. You will have less chances of you're going to have a higher percentage of selling and sales than
If you
if
do
you
X,
leave
Y,
it
and
as
Z.
is.
Yeah. But
And of
you're the
course,
coach. You're the coach. You
right,
go back,
exactly.
what you know to make those tweaks, and it's just a recommendation, it's a tool in your toolbox
Exactly. Because,
to
at
help
the end
you
of the
go forward.
day, you can and I love this because I do ChatGPT is who I use the most.
Mhm.
But I do love that it says at the very bottom when you try to put in something, it says ChatGPT makes mistakes. Check. Like do your research. Check,
Yeah.
which for me, when I am creating something, I ask for sources. If I'm wanting to create something, I want the sources. Where did you get this information from? So I can then go and click
Mhm.
and go, okay, great.
Double check your
Maybe I
work.
don't fully agree on that. Maybe I don't want this in here. Maybe I do want this in here. Maybe let's expand a little bit more on
Is
that.
it aligning with your values, with your years of
Exactly.
experience and work you put in to get to the point now in which you were able to coach? But somebody like you can utilize AI by creating maybe a digital icon of yourself or like a little emoji or something that is like Coach John, the cartoon version, but you can use that in your branding on your static images going forward so it's consistent. You know what I mean? You don't have to rely
Yeah.
on it for every little thing, but you're right. Somebody like me relies on it or can rely on it a little bit more, has more freedom. A coach like you, we need to see, why am I going to hire Coach John? What are the videos?
Exactly.
What's his podcast sound like? You can't replicate an entire podcast. I mean, you can, unfortunately, through AI,
You can't. I was like, yeah, you kind of can, but
You can, but like, nah, let's not,
yeah, no.
no, interesting.
Yeah, no. But I mean, yeah, I've always learned, I learned from even day one, you have to use AI and all this what we have available as a tool. The great thing is, as a tool that it is, it is always evolving. Let's be real. ChatGPT and images sucked in the beginning. Their images were
They were so bad.
awful. And they
Weird
are so much better now. Oh my gosh.
fingers, weird backgrounds.
You'd have some really funky stuff going on in an
Really, it's
image.
like, but people were sharing that to either
I
allow it
know.
to be, or thinking it would be passable as their own content, which was a complete joke, or they were calling it out and saying, we're not ready for this yet. And that was
Yeah.
only like 2, 3 years ago. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to have one more thing, and then we're going to go
Okay.
into what I love is my favorite part of this podcast is
Okay.
our rapid fire.
Oh, I
So,
love those.
all right, bigger conversation about everything we've been talking
Yeah.
about today is really safety, pride, and self-expression.
Hmm.
What has it meant for you to go from hesitation around displaying LGBTQ plus symbols to feeling more ownership and pride?
A very long journey, as I had discussed, number one, but knowing that it was necessary to change and unmask over time to be a voice for the voiceless. That's the most important thing for me, to be my most authentic self online, sharing not just the shirtless pictures for likes and comments and conversation, as conversation starters, which work,
Yeah.
but to show that I approve of representation, that I'm fighting for justice and for a voice for the voiceless every single post, within every single post. That's the most important thing to me, to be honest. Yeah.
How do you personally think about the balance between visibility and safety now, especially in our current climate that we're in?
Honestly, this may not be the answer you're expecting, but I don't think about that too often because I know I'm pretty protected, but I also know that I come from a place of privilege and that's protecting me and allowing me to be a little bit more boisterous, a little more off the cuff with my content. And I don't really worry too much about how I present myself through my content. But also knowing I have to protect my clients if they come from a place that's unprivileged or doesn't
Yeah.
have that voice and how I can help them in that sense. Yeah.
You know what? I like that, what you've said, because we can't let what's around us control us.
No.
There are many things that we can control. And when you let what you might fear control you, be it your visibility and your safety. Now, obviously, we don't want anyone ever to get into a situation where they don't feel
No.
safe. Ever,
No.
ever, ever. Oh my gosh, ever. But which I feel is, yeah, I was going to say, which is part of the reason why I think in some ways, I think I have yet to get a lot of people from the trans community on here. And I think
We're
part of it is
discussing that.
because of our
Yeah.
stupid political status where like everything going on right now. And it's dumb, it's
There's fear.
stupid,
Yeah.
but there's fear and I get it. Enough that I wouldn't say I did it out of fear, but you may have noticed like this podcast is called Empowered and Out, the career coaching podcast. It was originally called the LGBTQ plus career coaching podcast. And I got rid of the LGBTQ plus because number one, I still got rainbow stuff. I still have representation, but I felt it gives a broader range of people that I am going to connect with.
It's more inclusive for what you're
It's more
doing.
inclusive. When I put it just specifically, and that's what I have to do even with my coaching. Like I can't just say don't get me wrong, I want to help everyone. I want to be able to help everyone in my coaching. But if you do sometimes, and you're doing it right now, you're testing things, with like going after like gay men. When you niche down, sometimes it can hurt you, but sometimes it can help you. But you just never know. And if you can't test what's going to work or not going to work, you may never know what could really make you hugely successful.
But that's what's so important about social media is you have the freedom to test things
Exactly.
and whatever works you need to replicate and spend the time on getting on those platforms and viewing your metrics
Yes.
and working smarter, not harder long term.
Yes. Oh,
It really is
100%.
that simple. It really
It
is.
really is. Oh my gosh. Please, audience. Oh my goodness gracious. Please work smarter, not harder. It makes your life so much easier.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, so much
You
easier.
don't have to kill yourself. Even as you were saying earlier, we were discussing in this sense where creators or queer business owners or men think, oh my God, I have to post 5 different pieces of content. You don't.
No, you don't. The funny thing is, though, you probably would agree with this. So I have found when I have to pull some and put it on different platforms, I am so fast in flipping it to get it to be first off, when I set out a prompt and I'm creating something, I said,
Yes.
okay, I need this for LinkedIn. I need this for Instagram. I need
I
it
was
for,
just going to say the exact same thing.
and you have to, one thing I am a little bothered by initially, though, I know this, and you probably know this. If you post on Instagram and TikTok, you can only have 5 hashtags. 5. That's it. But
I
I'm
think it's
getting,
less now. I think
it's a total of 5. But you
3.
can't go past 5.
No.
It's
They
5 because I
delete
just posted
them.
yesterday.
They delete them
3,
or
that's so
they
dumb.
don't allow you to actually post the content until you delete a majority of your hashtags.
I know that I've been posting something. I'm at Acquire and I do the social media for Instagram and TikTok, and the other person does it for Facebook. And now it's interesting you say that, though, because they only do 3 hashtags. But when I try to say, let's convert this to what's going to fit for Instagram and TikTok, it gives me like 15 hashtags. I'm like, you can't post that on there. I'm like, come on, ChatGPT. It's like, I can't
That's
put
where the human
15
part comes in and
hashtags.
has to correct.
Yeah. So
That's
in
where
the
you have
end, I ended up
to go, oh,
I ended up
that's wrong.
doing, I think it won't let you go past 5. I do know that I've been experiencing.
No.
And which I'm fine with, because some of the other ones I'm like, I don't like these hashtags anyways. I wouldn't use them. I wouldn't
And
even use them for myself
hashtags don't
personally.
always work. It's more
No.
about the content that you're producing,
Oh,
um,
100%.
than
Yeah.
anything else. So hashtags are like kind of here and there right now, to be honest. Yeah,
And I will say in some of our recent content, my counterpart doing the Facebook, he didn't post something. And I'm like, okay, we got to get something out. And I posted something very snarky. Oh my goodness, the amount of views that got on all the platforms was awesome because I
hmm
made it really sarcastic. And I was like, well, that was kind of fun. It was kind of fun to see how much you change. Just like we said earlier, when you put it blunt and content and blunt and honest and in your face, people are really paying a little bit more attention instead of,
because exactly they
yeah.
feel like the fingers pointed at them and they have to react.
So, regarding all of safety, pride, self-expression, having ownership and pride, what would you say to someone who's listening right now or watching, I guess technically, who wants to be
Sure.
more open but they still feel scared?
You want blunt?
100%, yeah.
Too bad. Share yourself anyway, because the world's waiting for you. Too bad. I really don't care. You're scared. Do it anyway. The success is on the other side of fear.
100%. Yeah. All right. I like that. I like that answer. It's a good answer. So, we've solved none of the world's problems completely. I mean, we tried,
Yeah,
but we did say a lot of honest things for
sure.
sure. So let's balance that out with some fun. So with the rapid fire round.
Mhm, mhm.
For those who have not heard this before, I ask all my guests rapid fire questions, and of course, being rapid fire, that means they're not lengthy. I guess they could technically be a lengthy answer, but probably not.
Mhm.
So just short, quick, whatever comes to your mind first. So let's start. So, what is the gayest or most dramatic thing about you that has absolutely nothing to do with your job, with what you do?
My hype song for when I'm feeling down and out, all work aside, is going to Madonna's Vogue
I
and cheering me
mean,
up, and that brings my energy level back up to like 100. So, that is the gayest thing about me that's not related to my work. Yes.
I love that. Okay, well, I'm curious to ask this then. If your life right now, because I love that Vogue is like a hype up song.
Yeah.
If your life right now had a theme song though, what would it be?
Probably Thank You Next.
I like that. All
No
right.
explanation needed for that.
All right. What would win in a fight? Early 2000s gay nightlife energy or 2026 stay home and order dinner energy?
Uh, Early 2000s gay nightlife energy, 100%. We were scrappy back then, and we were
Oh,
having fun.
let's not repeat that time.
I don't think I can do it right now, to be honest. I like staying home.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's funny because we actually had this conversation the other day. We're like, when have we actually gone out to a gay bar recently? And it's been a minute
It's been but
because,
you can't even really go out anymore. Like, remember, Limelight?
I mean, yes,
It's
yes,
now it's a pizza parlor,
yeah,
which sounds
yeah.
delicious, but that's really sad. So, yeah. Anyway,
Okay. If you had to describe your current season of life as a cocktail, snack, or fast food order, what would it be?
I would say snack, and because it brings me joy, and it's so bad for my health and my cholesterol, I've been working on that. But, because of my heritage, my background, paying homage to the spice of life, honestly, I would say a stacked salami sandwich
Ooh,
filled with vegetables, a little vinegar and oil on a Kaiser roll, cut in half with some cheese. That would be my spice of life and my choice.
I like that. Now I'm hungry.
I
All
know, I
right.
haven't had lunch yet.
Okay. And last question. You have to give a queer professional survival kit to the next generation. What three completely random things are going in it?
So 2 of the 3 would be to assure that they keep their humanity within the way they represent themselves. That would be a pen and a journal to keep things analog and tracked in that sense. The last thing I would give to a future generation of the 3 items would be chapstick. You have to stay hydrated at all
Oh my
times.
gosh. Yes, you do.
Having chapped lips, you can't get
I
yourself
got
on
some right
camera.
here.
I have like 3 on my desk right in front of me right now. Yeah.
I always have one right in front of me. It's
My
like, okay,
car,
gotta
my
have it.
bag, my bedroom, my desk. No.
All right. And this is a real question. I mean, those were all fun questions. So
Yeah.
I thank you for answering and having
Sure.
fun. So for someone listening right now who feels discouraged, unseen, or close to giving up on themselves, what advice would you want to leave them with today?
You're overthinking it, and it's not as serious as you think.
Amen.
Mhm.
Wow. I love that.
Mhm.
That is so good.
True
That
story.
is so good. It's
Mhm.
so true.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, do we so overthink things. Oh my gosh.
Just do
Yeah.
it.
Just do it.
Cut it out. Cut the
Nike
bullshit.
is a multi-billion-dollar company for that phrase.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like
Just do it.
it's true. Just do it. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Joseph, this was such a real conversation. I
How
appreciate your
fun.
honesty,
Yeah.
your perspective, and your willingness to talk about pretty much everything, especially about identity, ambition,
Yeah.
community, and the struggle to keep believing in yourself when things feel uncertain. I personally think this episode is going to hit home for a lot of people, especially for those who are trying to figure out how to be visible, authentic, and successful without losing themselves in the process. And that's why these conversations matter. So I thank you.
100%. Thanks for having me. Truly.
And listeners, if this episode spoke to you, take a second, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're in a season where you're trying to rebuild your confidence, reconnect with your purpose, or stop dimming yourself just to blah, blah, blah. We've been
Thank
talking
you.
too long.
Chapstick.
Or stop dimming yourself just to survive at work and in life, I'd love to support you. You can book a free call with me through the link in the show notes or find me on the socials at JMB Coaching LLC on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, LinkedIn. And if you would like to connect with Joseph, his details will be in the show notes as well. And as always, make sure that you're subscribed to Empowered and Out so you don't miss future conversations. We've got some more powerful stories, more truth, and more growth coming your way. So until next time, don't shrink, don't dim your light, and keep being empowered and out.